Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and we are back. Purple Raiders sit down, and, well, we flipped the page over to basketball season as we are here with sophomore guard Devontae Friga. Devontae, how you doing today?
I'm doing amazing. How are you, Joe?
Doing great, Devontae. So let's jump right into it. So, Devontae, this season, you come off the bench for the Purple Raiders. You've been the spark that this team needed. You've had 9 games this season scoring in double figures, this including a career-high 30 points against Olivet. Devontae, how do you stay prepped coming off the bench for Coach Fuline?
To be completely honest with you, it's our coaches do a really good job of preparing us in practices before games, and just mentally staying focused is the number one key thing that I try to do. And in order to stay prepared, I just try and, stay as mentally focused as I can. But like I mentioned, the coaches do a wonderful job in practices of preparing us for what we're going to need to know for the games, what we're going to need to do for the games, and just everything like that.
And, Devontae, as mentioned, a sophomore for this ball club. We saw you get some time as a freshman as well. What do you believe you bring to this Mount Union team?
It's funny that you mentioned the freshman thing because, to be completely honest, to compare my freshman year to my sophomore year, I totally think that my roles on this team have changed completely. Freshman year, I definitely felt like it was JJ got hurt, Miles got hurt, right. Nathan was sick, and I don't want to use that as an excuse to why I was playing, because I was going as hard as I can in practices and doing very well on the JV team. But I feel like freshman year it was more of the hustler on the team, or trying to be really. This year I've tried to not transition to scoring and being the hustler and trying to make plays off the bench, but just trying to be a team player in general. I think that my role has significantly changed this year, and kind of like bringing to the actual basketball team, just staying as focused as possible and bringing the energy off the bench. That would probably be what I'd say is my role this year.
Yeah, it's been a great role for you, Devontae. And, earlier this week we were talking about, how you handle a loss for this ball club. And for you, you don't really let a loss affect you too much, Devontae. Explain how you stay motivated after losing a tough one.
It's something that I've always done. Now, yeah, we talked about how losses are something that, not that I get too upset about. But, yeah, I get mad and stuff. But the thing about me and my losses is I think of them as a macro versus micro. And a Division III college basketball loss is micro to me. Now, it sucks in the moment, right? But it's not something that I can go back and change. And your losses and your failures are usually not something you can go back, rewind your life, and change. But I think of them, like I mentioned, macro versus micro. And this might sound a little harsh, but macro being like death, like that's a big failure. You can't go back and change that. But with micro failures, you can look back on all the things that you could have done and fix those for the next time that you can do them better, if that makes any sense.
Oh, yeah.
So like basketball wise, it's like, you lose a game against John Carroll the first time or something like that. And then the next time you play them, you have all the key assets and resources that you can utilize to function better against them the next time and potentially win.
Right, Devontae. And, for you, you've seen your fair share of OAC games. These games are significantly important down the stretch of the season when battling for ranking before that OAC tournament. How do you handle the pressure in these games?
Something I do is mental. Not like that. I mean, like in my head, like mentally, I try and act as if any team that we're going to play is 0-0 as well as us. The reason I do that is because it's easy as a player to look at another team and be like, dang, they're 17-4 and we're, like 9-9, or they're 15-3 and we're, 6-12. It's easy to get records in your head. Mm-hmm. It's easy to get how much they score a game in your head. So what I do to take the pressure off of myself is I think that they're 0-0, we're 0-0, the score is 0-0, and we're all just basketball players trying to win and beat each other and utilize our teammates, So that's kind of how I take the pressure away from myself.
Now, Devontae, this past Wednesday, you ended up dropping against John Carroll, 98-66. Split the season series against the Blue Streaks as, tough game on Wednesday night. What were your takeaways from that loss in John Carroll?
To be completely honest with you, I would say listening. And there's a big difference between listening and doing. So something I think is a lot of people just hear. And for our basketball team, I feel like we just heard instead of listened to our coaches. See, what our coaches told us going into the John Carroll game was they can shoot really well, they can shoot really well, they can shoot really well, and they're going to run the floor. Mm-hmm. And what did they do? They ran the floor the entire game, and they shot really I think they had 21 threes, 23s, maybe 12 or 13 in the first half.
Yeah, they were pretty much on fire in that first half, Devontae. Ended up going on a 17-4 run early on. That really kind of, I think that's what was the turning point in the first half for you guys. Yeah,
so significantly just, finding that direct correlation to listening and doing, really, because as you know, there's such a big difference between hearing and listening.
Right, yeah.
And it's just cooperation, being with your team, just, listening.
Yeah, listening's a big thing for you guys. But, Devontae, I keep going as this will branch off into it. The past few matchups have not gone the team's way. 3-7 in the last 10 matchups. And, I guess we just talked about it. Would you say the biggest struggle in this past stretch of games has been the fact that the team has been more hearing the coaches than listening?
That would definitely be one thing, but I think the biggest thing, two huge things that have to play with us right now in the last 10 games is, one, our lack of confidence, and two, our cycle. So what I mean by that is our confidence level when we shoot the ball, our confidence levels when we dribble the ball or when we're handling a press. I just don't think that they're at an all-time high. When we started the season, we were shooting amazing. We trusted each other, and just like I mentioned, our confidence. If we have confidence, then we win. Mm-hmm. And like I mentioned, the cycle factor, I think that life and basketball kind of work as a cycle. So when you start to lose games, you continue to lose games because that's what you think is going to happen.
Right.
And then vice versa with winning. You start to win games, then you think you're going to win, and then you win. It's simple, but it's something that we need to get down now.
Right, a big mindset. You guys have roughly a month before the OAC tournament. I mean, I keep saying it on broadcasts. You rather struggle right now in January and early February than down the line when you hit late February and March when those games are your season's on the line.
100%.
So you guys have time to turn that around. So Devontae, taking it back to your high school days, Cuyahoga Falls. You played under Coach Kenny Johnson. Explain the changes that you had to make from high school into that college level.
100% maturity. 100%. So I could practically just answer that question with one word, and that would be maturity. But to kind of branch off of that, it would just be simplifying it. Growing up in the game of basketball, knowing how to play with people that can play all around. And I'm not bashing anybody on my high school team, but every single person that plays college basketball, and obviously be practical with me here, can shoot the ball, can dribble the ball, can pass the ball, can learn how to break a press, will take the time to learn new things. And I think that is the biggest thing. And I also think that transitions you make from high school to college, I would think trying to get bigger, faster, stronger, kind of the cliche things. Right. But sometimes the most cliche things are the most true things.
So, Devontae, we stick with you in high school. What made your decision to come here to the University of Mount Union? What brought you in?
I took a visit here, fell in love with the culture. I wanted to go to a smaller school due to the fact that I've heard so many people, teacher-wise, talk to me about larger classes versus smaller classes. But I got to be 100% honest with you, Joe. A lot of it had to do with basketball, opportunity to play, which honestly, when it came down to it, I didn't really play at the beginning of the year. Last year was something I had to fight for.
Right.
So, definitely school and definitely basketball, but just the opportunity to further my career.
So, Devontae, what has been your biggest challenge on the basketball court, and how did you overcome that adversity?
On the basketball court, it's always losing, when we're
Right.
losing and then overcoming that. But the heart situation I had a couple weeks
that
ago,
was
would
that
that
was
be
wild.
considered on?
Yeah, go
like
ahead. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I went to the doctor and, for my throat actually, and they listened to my heart, checked on my vitals and stuff like that, and they said that sounded like I had a heart murmur. Go check it out. So I went to go check it out, and I had to miss the game that I really wanted to play in. So last year our season was ended by Marietta at Marietta, and I was so pumped to play them. And the one game I had to miss this year so far was the Marietta game. And it really just kind of put things into perspective for me. Like, I cannot take any second for granted that I have. So that would definitely be the biggest challenge. And overcoming that was obviously, I just had to kind of wait it out. But just focusing on what really matters in my life. And that was something that mattered.
Yeah, that was a wild week and a half, probably 2 weeks for you. I mean, you guys come back from Baldwin Wallace, you get sick as a dog. You end up going to the hospital just for the emergency room, get the throat checked, and the heart situation. I mean, that's got to be a big scary situation. I mean, whenever dealing with that,
it's crazy.
So, hey, you came over it, and everything's good. We're glad to see you back on the basketball court.
Thank you.
So, Devontae, going back to basketball, do you have any teammates in which you love having on the floor with you when you're in, a player that just takes some of the pressure off?
I love playing with everybody on the team. Like I mentioned a minute ago, going from high school to college, every single person on my team is good now. Like, no matter who's on the court, every single one of them is good. And it's not playing with the best players. It's the fact that I can trust everybody on the court. And to be honest, I can't really signal anybody out because I just like playing with everybody. Right. It's so easy to play with everybody when you can trust everybody. And that's something that I feel like every team needs, no matter what sport. If we're talking football, if we're talking basketball, it doesn't matter. If you can trust your teammates, then it shouldn't matter.
Right. And Devontae, for you, obviously games usually every Wednesday and Saturday. What are your rituals before a game? What gets you ready for that ball game? I'm
not huge on routines. I wouldn't say that I had a specific routine, but something I like to do is just kind of talk to myself. And it might sound weird, but I like to tell myself that I'm going to have a good game. I'm going to do good. We are going to win. Like, JJ's going to have a good game. Nathan's going to have a good game. Andrew's going to have a good game. I like to go through and tell myself that everybody's going to do good, because if we do good, if we listen, if we're confident, we win. Because at the end of the day, it's not individual, because we're a basketball team. So if the entire team does good, then that's what we're worried about. But one thing that I do every single game is I watch a Russell Westbrook dunking video. Now, I don't have 4 dunks a game,
right?
But I just like to. He's one of my favorite players after LeBron, obviously. But that's just something I like to do. I like his mentality. I like how he plays, and that's
good pump up for you before a game.
Yeah.
So, Devontae, last basketball question here for you, and we'll get into your vlog series. What has basketball taught you that carries over into other areas of your life?
Adversity. It's pretty ironic that this is a question right now, because we're 3-7 in the last 10 games, which is huge, like a huge adversity point and turning point for us, because we started off 7-2, and now we're 9-9. And outside of basketball, I understand that through parents, through family, through friends, through everybody that I've really come in contact with, teachers, they've all taught me, like, you're going to have adversity in your life. And I've been through adversity as well. The murmur situation, like just being able to fight through that and knowing that it's possible to overcome. Something that basketball taught me with, you go 3-7, you never know, the next 10 games we can go 7-3. So definitely adversity would be a huge, huge point for me.
So going in now, Devontae, for all the viewers, Devontae does have a vlog series that he started. He's over 70 vlogs now on his YouTube channel. I'll put a link in the description. If you go on his channel, you could easily search Devontae Friga and you'll see it. some of the best videos you will see. You just follows Devontae's academic and athletic career around college. And, I mean, exactly what we were talking about earlier about the heart murmur situation. You could see all of that and how Devontae was able to overcome all those situations. You see him, not bringing his tennis shoes on a road game and all the hijinks from Devontae. So, Devontae, I want to ask you, what started this idea to vlog your days out and make these videos, and what led you to start this series off?
Creation. One word. Creation. Documentation. Motivation. Mm-hmm. Just the ability to create something every single day to have a positive impact, whether that's on one person or 1 million people. That's something that I was like, wow, I want to have. Mm-hmm. Because, I don't mass 1 billion views every year.
Right.
And I'm not worried about views at all. I know that if I have one person, if I have one view on that video, then I know that hopefully I made a positive impact, whether that was entertaining them for 8 to 10 minutes of the day, making them laugh for 2 minutes of the 10 minutes, hopefully, or just doing it for myself too, because I love to just, like, my camera's set up right now. Like, obviously they can't see it, but it's something that I've taken into consideration. I just love being able to create something, and that is the number one reason that I started it, to motivate others, to hopefully create a big platform to where I can make an even more positive impact. That is the reason.
So Devontae Friga, one of the most calm and collect, I think, basketball players you will ever meet, as the Purple Raiders are getting set to take on Wilmington here in the second half, as the Purple Raiders look to turn this tide around here in late January, in February in the OAC. And Devontae, I'd like you to finish us off on this interview.
Well, so I know what you want me to say, but
explain it first. I should say
I will. So I have something that I open up all my vlogs with, and it's, if you're not working hard today, what are you doing? It started off as just kind of like a question, and as I started to say it, I was like, I want to say it as a reminder. I want to remind people that you are not ever, ever, ever going to be promised tomorrow. You're not even promised the next hour of your life. Mm-hmm. So if you're not, one, happy or trying to make yourself happy or working hard in that moment, then what are you doing? Like, and it's not, I'm not trying to be rude at all by when I say it. I just want to remind people that in the most uncliche way, your life is so precious. And as someone that can hopefully remind you every single day, I want to remind you that you got to work hard. So I will end with saying, if you're not working hard today, what are you doing?